When the shoe's on the other foot, things aren't too fun. Grab your popcorn, folks. This video is 100% schadenfreude.
The following is a World-Class Bullshitters exclusive.
There's not a day that goes by that we're not constantly reminded of identity. It's wedged into every aspect of life and forced down our throats. Entertainment has been absorbed by this amorphous blob, and it continues to break down and destroy everything it touches. Then it happens to the people who whine about this stuff, and then it's funny. Lilo and Stitch is an animated film from Disney about a Hawaiian girl and her alien pal. It was a big hit 20 years ago, so that's why it's part of the obligatory Disney live-action reboot craze. Films like Lion King, Aladdin, and Jungle Book all received live-action counterparts to their animated classics. The films enjoyed a range of success, with Dumbo being an outright failure at the box office. Undeterred by any reason, Disney is back with Lilo and Stitch, but they already have a problem. A race problem. Following the news that Lilo and Stitch will be the latest Disney classic to get the live-action treatment, fans of the 2002 animated movie were abuzz with predictions and desires for who would take on the iconic native Hawaiian roles. Many were left disappointed Friday when Disney announced the casting of a biracial light-skinned actor in the role of Nani, Lilo's sister, who in the original movie was drawn with darker skin, black hair, and ethnic features. Not being indigenous, or from a POC community, it may not be easy to see a problem with this casting, but within our communities, this is a big issue, one person tweeted. Nani is indigenous Hawaiian with strong features and dark skin. This casting is blatant colorism. Disney did not respond for a request for comment. While some celebrated the casting, many native Hawaiian fans said they are hoping for an actor who wasn't white passing for whose features reflected those of the island's indigenous population. Some say this is a pattern with Disney projects. Nani's reimagining parallels the controversy around the casting of Princess Jasmine in Disney's 2019 live-action remake of Aladdin, fans tweeted. The Sultan's daughter in the fictional Agrabah was played by Naomi Scott, a biracial British actor of Indian ancestry. Audience called her casting out as whitewashing of the original character, who was the only Disney princess with darker skin at the time of the animated movie's release. Hold on a second. It's a fictional country, she's of Indian ancestry, and she's white to these people? I digress. Disney also caught heat in 2018 for changing Tiana, the studio's first black princess from The Princess and the Frog, by portraying her with lighter skin and looser curls in an unreleased version of Ralph Breaks the Internet. After images of the new depiction surfaced online, Disney reanimated the scene, facing backlash from fans and feedback from the voice actor who played Tiana. Stop glorifying Eurocentric beauty standards in the name of erasing characters and features, a fan tweeted. Give darker-skinned Pacific Islanders the visibility we deserve. Aren't first world problems grand? In all seriousness, this article is just the opposite side of the same coin. Over the past few years, we've heard the phrase redhead erasure. It's an often discussed issue online where people have noticed that traditionally redhead characters have been replaced by black or other ethnicities. It's quite common. There are lists readily available to show the examples. The two most recent additions to this list were April O'Neil from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Ariel from The Little Mermaid. The latter has been at the center of controversy for what feels like years. Many of the criticisms levied at the Lilo and Stitch casting were made about The Little Mermaid, but fans were met with accusations of racism, bigotry, and hatred, even if they gave the same reasons as the NBC-accepted article. The point of accuracy to the region shouldn't matter if one thinks Ariel is a good change but doesn't accept Nani. The Little Mermaid is a Danish story. 86% of Denmark is white, and those are the modern-day demographics. If we go back to 1837, the year the story was published, it's even more white. Why is it okay to complain about Nani, but not Ariel? You know the answer. I know the answer, and I'm not even in the demographic for any of this crap. It's the obvious double standard in the press. They have a bias that leans a certain way. Because if it's a problem with Nani, it's a problem with Ariel, April, Batgirl, Velma, Jimmy Olsen, and the rest of the characters. People like the characters the way they are. Just as their own individual identity is important to these people, the same goes for the characters. When fans complain about white characters being changed, they're met with accusations of racism or the weirdest justification of anything, the dreaded "it's about time." The double standard is maddening, as is the obsession with identity. In America, every group feels this way to some extent. All feel their groups are being attacked, bullied, persecuted, discriminated against, etc. Of course, one group's claim to feel threatened and voiceless are often met by another group's derision because it discounts their own feelings of persecution. But such is political tribalism. This is why we now see identity politics on both sides of the political spectrum. In recent years, whether because of growing strength or growing frustration with the lack of progress, one side has upped the ante. A shift in tone, rhetoric, and logic has moved identity politics away from inclusion and towards exclusion and division. This new exclusivity is partly epistemological, claiming that out-group members cannot share in the knowledge processed by in-group members. You can't understand X because you're white. You can't understand Y because you're not a woman. You can't speak about Z because you're not queer. The idea of cultural appropriation insists, among other things. These are our groups, symbols, traditions, patrimony, and outgroup members have no right to them. Once identity politics gains momentum, it inevitably subdivides the group, giving rise to the ever-proliferating group identities demanding recognition. That's why you see articles like this about Ariel. It's all ugly and silly, and it's not really people fighting about a cartoon character, but the issues mentioned above. It used to be that audiences would look up to a hero with admirable traits, a fighting spirit, never-ending optimism, and relatability. But no more. Today, everything is broken down by race and political affiliation. Society has gone backwards. It's acceptable to dump on a character because they're white, which is messed up and hypocritical to boot. If you speak up to defend your favorite character or want them to look like the character, that's not racist. That's just being a fan. If you're a fan of something, you like it as is. If you're looking to participate in some social change, you're probably a fan of that, not the property you're wearing a t-shirt of. At the end of the day, the real villain of the story is Disney and their pointless live-action remakes. What can this story achieve that the original couldn't? Nothing. So folks, I want to know what you think about this. This is a little bigger than 3 questions, which we'll bring back next time, but I want to know what your thoughts are about this situation, because it's a very layered topic. It's not about cartoon characters being different colors or actresses having lighter colored skin. It's about hypocrisy and double standards. If you don't have a problem with this thing, you really can't complain about that thing, because at the end of the day, the same result happened. A movie gets made for pointless reasons. So I haven't made a video on The Little Mermaid because I was never going to. I've never even seen the animated movie. It's not my thing. I really don't care, but I do care about the double standards out there. I do care about the big picture, the greater picture, the big whole pie, not just a slice of it. And it's incredibly important to shine a light on this, because everyone hears that one group is terrible for this, but this group, it's okay. It's championing their identity. What's the difference? I'm not in any of these groups. I don't fall in line with any of these races, but I still wonder what's the deal with the double standard. I take issue with that because that's just not fair. That's not equality. I thought the world was about not being different, but about being the same. And it confuses a guy like me because I grew up not that long ago, and that was the directive. ELE, everybody love everybody, everybody get along. But the internet loves to tear everyone down, separate us. Realistically, it comes from social media, where they want to devise a unique, tailored experience for every customer, every consumer, and inevitably they exclude people, like we talked about in this article, with information from other sources. You know, exclusivity is the name of the game. That's the name game these days. You don't belong because you don't understand. But don't you want everyone to understand? Isn't that the point? Isn't that the bigger picture? I guess not anymore, but well, we'll find out next time. So folks, I'm gonna get out of here. I'll be back next time with more, but in the meantime, be smart, be safe, be cool, but always be excellent to each other. Seriously, life's too short to pick apart differences like skin color. Thanks for watching today's video. Yes, it's over, but don't cry, because there's more, a lot more from World Class Bullshitters, and there's only one way to get it. Hit that subscribe button below. When you do that, you'll get notifications and updates from World Class Bullshitters every time we go live. Basically, you won't miss anything. And if there's one thing I hate, it's FOMO. But the thing most people hate more than FOMO is fear of missing out on World Class Bullshitters, because there's just some things you can't undo. So folks, do yourselves a favor and never miss anything from World Class Bullshitters. One last thing before you go, hit the thumbs up button. Not for our egos, no, they're big enough as this, but it does help us fight the algorithm here, and well, it's man versus machine, and that's the real fight. But if that's not your battle, that's okay. There's one last way you can help WCBS, and that's going over to shopwcbs.com, picking up a t-shirt, a beer glass, a sweatshirt, a poster, all sorts of ways to back WCBS. The difference between us and other YouTube channels is I'm the artist that makes all this stuff, so if you enjoy art beyond t-shirts, you can even read our comic books. We got it all. We're called the epitome of pop culture for a reason, and no, again, it's not for our egos. So folks, make sure you're involved with every aspect of World Class Bullshitters, not just for us, but do it for yourself. We're making the change in entertainment everybody out there wants to see. And a special thank you goes out to all of our wonderful patrons who make this content possible. Go to patreon.com/worldclassbs to get involved and help out the channel.